elected, these people are spending that much time every day, folks, asking people for money to run for office again. Is that a good use of our elected representatives' time?
You know, it's kind of sad that that's how things are going, because there are so many people that are qualified to be in office. And because of the money run, the money chase, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy. And after you get into office, you have to start that cycle all over again. So I think there's something that should be done out there for people that are qualified, that have proven, that have a track record, boots on the ground, working in the community, working with different individuals, to be able to have those resources available. Because when there are people that are doing the job, getting the work done, but they don't have the money to be able to just compete with people that have lots of money, and they're not living up to doing the things that the voters put them in office for. So there needs to be more of a level playing ground for those people that are qualified, you know, diversity, inclusion for people that are coming here that have a heart to serve, but they just don't have the financial backing to be able to compete in the election runs.
And Sheila, the other thing that happens is that, you know, you have these special interests coming in, these lobbyists coming in, and our Congress people, our lawmakers end up writing laws for them rather than for you and I.
That's another problem. All the lobbyists, they want what they want, and there's not enough people out there that will stand up, you know, to the call and say, listen, enough is enough. So it's really important, like I said, to really look at those that are qualified, diversity, inclusion, to be able to try to get the people in there that are going to say, okay, if you've been elected for 4 years, let that record show, are you doing what the voters want you to do, not the lobbyist, because that puts everything into a whole nother field, so to speak.
Yeah, that's what is happening currently now. Bill, any thoughts on this?
Well, a number of countries, you know, publicly fund their elections, and I think this has been talked about before. And you know, it's they focus their attention on just a few weeks prior to the election, and avoid all the vitriol, a lot of the vitriol that currently goes into our system. And you know, I would look for a way. I would hope for a way to bring on publicly funded elections, especially on the federal level, to eliminate some of this. I think there are a lot of forces playing against that. You know, realistically, you know, I think the media itself would probably oppose that. There's a lot of money to be made by the media. A lot of money to be made with advertising dollars, and they like the fact that it goes out a year or so in advance. Right.
I mean, you're right on that. So, folks, here's the point, okay? The media is partly to blame for that, or mostly to blame for that, I would say, because there's millions of dollars coming into the media coffers from these advertising budgets. When I filed to run for Congress last year, we had a lot of people come and approach us, you know, quote unquote, consultants. And they were coming in with all kinds of crazy ideas. 30-second commercial I can produce for you, Mr. Mohammed. I said, what's the cost going to be? Oh, it's only $40,000. Okay. I'm like, really? You know, I can take my iPhone and I can make the commercial for no dollars. But folks, if you have any questions, any concerns that you want to get addressed, do call in. Our number here is 773-763-9278. You are listening to The Lightning Strike on Chicago's progressive talk station, WCPT 820 AM.
This is your WCPT Progressive Calendar. Wednesday, September 13th at 6 p.m., join Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox and Cook County Public Defender Sharon Mitchell Jr. for a Chicago-Kent College of Law panel discussion, The End of Cash Bail, a conversation about the Pretrial Fairness Act ahead of the September 18th End of Cash Bail in the state of Illinois. 565 West Adams Street in Chicago. Sunday, September 17th from noon to 2 p.m., the Schaumburg Public Library will be celebrating National Voter Registration Day a couple days early. The League of Women Voters of the Palatine area will be at the Schaumburg Central Library to help sign you up. Bring a state-issued ID and one additional proof of current address, 130 South Roselle Road in Schaumburg. If you'd like to list your event or sponsor WCPT's Progressive Calendar, please email calendar@wcpt820.com.
Listen to Where Are They Now?
Let's welcome Jerry Beck.
A famous story with Mel Blanc. Around the time he started the Flintstones, he got into this horrific car accident, and he was out in a coma for like a month or two. And finally, the doctors started talking to him in a coma. They started addressing him as Bugs Bunny, and he came out of the coma basically going, "What's up, Doc?" You know.
Tune into Where Are They Now, Saturdays at 10 a.m.
Hey, listen.
Think Theory Radio.
Theoretical astrophysicist Dan Hooper.
If there's someplace a light year away from now, there's nothing I can do now that can influence that place in less than a year. No matter what I do, no matter how I build my quantum machine, or no matter what I entangle or what I quantum teleport, nothing I can do here can affect that until a full year has passed, allowing light to get there at the speed of light.
Think Theory Radio with Damian Perdue. Saturdays at 6 p.m. on WCPT 820.
The preceding program, The Lightning Strike.
Okay, folks, we are back. You're listening to the Lightning Strike Radio on WCPT, Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM. My name is Mohammed Faheem. I've got in the studio with me Mark Ferry, Bill Thoman, and Sheila White today, and we will be having a guest coming in, Sadia Covert. She is running for DuPage County Judge, and we will have a tete. How do you call it? What is that word?
TD.
Okay.
We'll talk over the T, as they say.
Okay. And we got a call coming in, and let's see who is on the line. I see it is just a number and no name. If you could please bring it in, Devin, let's see who it is.
So
good morning.
In them back there, but he's about to put them on.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for calling in, and you're listening to the...
So he's not on yet, but he's about to put them on. So he's
okay.
them back there, but I'm going to... Yeah.
Okay, I think we got two more calls
just put this person on.
Coming in, and if you want to call in, folks, 773-763-9278 is the number. And thank you for calling in. This is Mohammed. How can I help you?
Oh, I'm Michael from Chicago. Am I on the radio now?
Yes, Michael from Chicago. You are on the radio, Michael. How can we help you?
Okay, I want to talk about 17-year-old kids voting in the primary elections in Illinois and 23 other states. We got to get more people voting. That's the problem. Not enough people are voting. And a lot of people don't know that 17-year-old kids can vote in the primaries. They think you got to be 18 years of age to vote in any election in the United States. But the states in the last 10 years have been lowering the voting age to 17.
Okay.
Only in 24 states.
Okay, Mark, you want to address Michael's question on that? Are 17-year-olds allowed to vote in Illinois, Bill, that you know of? I'll have Bill handle that. Bill has Bill is the former chairman of the Will County Democratic Township, Democrats also. Yeah. So I think he's the right person to answer that question for you.
17-year-old is allowed to register to vote if they're going to be 18 by the
time of the election.
Next election. They're allowed to vote in the primary for the same reason. So, it's important that we get our younger people aware of that and involved and registered to vote.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Michael. And here's the thing. In Will County, where I live in, this year, in the consolidated elections, the voter turnout was 19.8%, less than 20%. Yeah. That needs to change, man. We are letting the tail wag the dog over here in this country. And then we sit back and we wonder what happened. Why are these people doing things and the laws are not keeping up with what the people actually want. So, Michael, thank you very much for your concerns and calling in. Do listen in every Sunday, 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll be throwing some light on all of these things, and hopefully some of the roaches will come out of their dens when they see the light shining on their faces, right?
Yeah, and the deal is, like the gentleman said, they have to become 18 years of age by the general election in November, but then they could vote for the general election and they could vote for the corresponding primary. And when they vote for the primary, they'll be just 17.
Yes.
It's been the law in Illinois since 2014. It's been the law in the state of Illinois.
Well, here's the point, Michael. That is the law. But our lawmakers and those running for office don't want people to know what the law is because they want to control who is actually going to be voting. And that is that small block that keeps on getting these people back into office every time. Thank you very much for your call, and let's go to the next call. And if you want to call in, folks, 773-763-9672 is the number to call in. 9278 773-763-9278. And you're listening to The Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Mohammed Faheem. With me in the studio today, Mark Ferry, Bill Thoman, and Sheila White. Okay, caller, go ahead. You're on the air. Good morning.
Okay, peace be with you.
Peace be with you,
Good
sir.
morning.
Good morning.
Okay. I was calling to respond regarding the cost of running for public office. The problem is not one that can be solved politically as much as one that can be solved morally. Because we have created a society where money is the primary thing. Everything is subservient to money. And until we as a society start putting things like morality and humanity and fairness and justice as a priority, money will constantly lower our standard of living. And what needs to happen is, and this is the big call, because man has created this situation and man can resolve it. But we need people, not just political people, but we need to start a movement to raise the level of humanity and morality to where money takes a back seat to everything. Then you can start having fair elections where you get the right people, the people who are more concerned about morality and humanity than people that can raise the most money.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Thank you very much for calling in. And that is what we are trying to do with this little segment over there that we are trying with this, the Lightning Strike, is to raise the awareness, especially for people who want to run for office, for people who are running for office, and people who are out there who are looking to see a change happening in this great country of ours. I mean, thank you very much for calling in, and let's continue the conversation. It's about 9:23. We have Sadia Covert coming in at 9:30. She's going to be our guest today. And next week at 9:30 in the morning, we'll have Judge Jennifer Barron, who is also a sitting judge, and she's running in the primary for the DuPage County Judicial 18th District 2. And we'll have more guests coming in, folks. So keep on tuning in over here on WCPT 820 AM. And I am Mohammed Faheem. Let's continue the conversation over here with the cost of running for office, because that seems to be a hot topic for people today. And the lobbyists that I have been approached by, even when I was going to run for office, there were so many people calling up and saying, hey, how can we help you? And everybody seemed to have an angle. How do we handle that?
Well, you know, everyone is going to have an angle, no matter who it is that's running. They're in it for what's in it for me. And so I think what you have to do is know what your values are, know the people that you're supporting, the people that you're trying to help in your community, and be able to just be open and honest with them. You know, just put your pedal to the metal and say, I'm going for this. I'm going to help you, you know, with family care, health care, all these issues that your voters are voting you into office for. You have to have an ear for the people. And so I think it's one of those things where you just have to look at it and see who's in your team, who's on your team, who's going to fight for you, and who's going to really help the cause, because that's what it's all about. And people that have a heart to want to help and see change, they will support, even if it's, $10, $25, they'll support those candidates that they feel have their best interests. I think that's what it's all about.
One of the things that I wanted to bring out also was this election time. You have all these signs popping up all over the city, and everywhere you see this, vote for me and vote for this. And those signs, do you folks know that those signs are not recyclable?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Very true. Very true.
The environment is a huge concern of mine, folks. I'm also the president of a nonprofit in Chicago called the Chicago Muslims Green Team. And we are all about the environment. How do we take care of it? What do we pass on to our next generation? And it really bothers the heck out of me when I see these signs out there. And after the election, they just go and they just dump them.
That's right. That's right.
If they pick them up.
If they pick them up, right?
Right.
So we have a caller calling in on line one. Let's see what you have to say. Do call in, and the call-in number is 773-763-9672. 9276.
No, 9278.
9278. Here's the number right in front of me now. Okay. I was trying to wing it, folks. So, hi, you're on the air.
Oh, hello, Mohammed. This is Alan Kaplan.
Hi, Alan. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I heard that you were starting your program, and I wanted to congratulate you. Tell your listeners how great you are, how many years I've known you, and what an inspiring life story you have. So congratulations on your program. Wishing you well.
Thank you, Alan, for being my friend for so long. Folks, Alan Kaplan is an attorney who specializes in employment law, and Alan and I have known each other for quite some time. Alan has been very kind to present a lot of workshops for us, for both job seekers and employers, as to what they need to know. Hey, Alan, I know that you are kind of like semi-retired or on your own now. Anything happening in the employment business that we need to be aware of, that our folks need to know?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty to know. The most important thing is that the Labor Board, the National Labor Relations Board, has increased or expanded the definition of what's called concerted activity.
Okay.
So that's more protection for employees. And
Okay.
there's also a lot of changes by the Labor Board over the last week especially. I do want to put in a plug this morning. I'm semi-retired. This morning I'm volunteering at the Schaumburg Fest for the Honor Flight. The Honor Flight is a wonderful organization that flies for a day veterans of World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the military services to Washington, D.C. for special honors. And so please come out to the Schaumburg Fest, to our booth for Honor Flight, and we'll tell you all about our wonderful organization.
Wonderful.
Again, it's to honor veterans and giving them this wonderful day of honor to Washington, D.C. So I wanted to put in a plug for that.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome, Alan. No, you're more than welcome. You know that my concern has been for veterans for such a long time. And some of the programming that I've done for veterans to try them to get back into productive employment once they come back, and those, that is a very dear cause for me also. Thank you, Alan. All the best on the Honor Flight, folks. Go down to the Schaumburg Fest. Check out what Alan and his team are doing. If you've got another caller calling in, you're on the air. Thank you for calling.
Good morning, Mohammed. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Doing good. John, how are you?
Well, I thought I'd tune in to hear your melodic voice on the radio again, since I never got to hear it back in the day. Well, I wanted to call in and congratulate you and tell you congratulations and everything else.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much. And We'll be in touch. Do tune in every day, Sunday mornings, 9 o'clock. We're going to be here, rain or shine, and we are going to be taking down Chicago one brick at a time and throwing some light on it with our lightning strike. It's 9:30, folks. We'll have Sadia Covert coming in. If you could, Michael, if you could please go bring Sadia in, I would appreciate it. And Sadia is running for DuPage County Judge. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Moment in labor. On February 8th, a Starbucks in Memphis, Tennessee fired 7 workers who were trying to unionize the company. Starbucks is currently denying these accusations, saying they were fired for security reasons. However, this is not the first time something like this has happened, as union busting can be traced back to the early 19th century. Union busting is when an employer tries to delay, disband, or prevent a union from forming. Despite it being illegal, it has sadly become common in the workplace. From President Ronald Reagan firing all members of the Professional Air Traffic Controllers Organization who went on strike, to Amazon firing DeQuan Smith for trying to create the Amazon Labor Union, to the latest case of Starbucks firing employees who were trying to unionize. Union busting was made illegal in 1935 with the National Labor Relations Act, yet somehow the practices of union busting are still happening today. This has been a WCPT Moment in Labor. We are working for your rights.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine. Fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte combo orders.
Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammed Faheem, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammed Faheem.
Good morning, folks, and welcome back to the Lightning Strike. And you are tuned in to WCPT AM 820 or 820 AM, however you want to call it, Chicago's Progressive Talk Station. I'm your host, Mohammed Faheem. And we've got a caller on the line, and it's my good friend, Pastor Lawrence Blackfold. Good morning, Pastor. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Good morning, Mohammed, and congratulations on the new show.
Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you in the studio with us, hopefully next week, if you can get up in the morning on Sundays, when I know that you have taken a break after a long time. Folks, Pastor Blackfold has been doing a lot of great work in the south suburbs of Chicago and Chicago Heights. I cannot begin to tell you the impact that this one gentleman is having on the community over there. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for all that you do for us. And with that, let's come back to our guest in the studio today. We got Sadia Covert, who's running for judicial position in DuPage County, judicial judge for the 18th district, Circuit Court 18th. Sadia, good morning and welcome to the Lightning Strike.
Good morning. Thank you.
So, before we get into the weeds, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background, and why do you believe that you are a candidate who's qualified to run for this position?
Okay, well, thank you. So my name is Sadia Covert. I am running for the 18th Judicial Circuit, Subcircuit 2, which are the areas of Naperville, Aurora, and West Chicago. So a little bit about my background before I was on the county board. So I've been elected twice to DuPage County Board. This is my second term right now. And before this, I actually did a lot of community work. So one of the biggest things that I did was passing co-authoring the amendment to the hate crime law in Illinois. And that was passed unanimously in 2017. And
okay, right there. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, so I was noticing at the time that there were incidents happening around the country and in Illinois to minorities specifically that I felt were hate crimes, but they weren't being labeled appropriately. And when they're not labeled appropriately, it doesn't become a problem. And it doesn't go towards the data and the statistics of it. So what I did was I tightened up the language of the hate crime law in Illinois and made it stronger than California's hate crime law. And I worked for a couple of years on that, actually. I went to state representatives. I had rallies, I had symposiums, I had educational seminars on it, and and finally there was a state representative that heard me, and it was Representative Kifowit that helped me with that.
Okay.
And there was a woman that heard me, and that's where it went. And the whole state legislature, all of them, Republicans, Democrats, the whole legislature voted to pass this, and the government passed it as well. And at the time, we had a Republican governor, so you could tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful, Sadia. So that's what I like about you. I mean, you took the initiative to make a change. You did not wait for things to happen. And is that your judicial philosophy now? Can you describe your philosophy, and how do you approach the law?
I think it's very important. First thing is to have equity and making sure that we have equal justice, access to justice for everybody, making sure that people have their fair day in court, and compassionate justice, making sure that you are being fair, So I think I've gotten to know the people very well through my DuPage County Board position.
Okay.
And I used to have a race relations series on the county board where I was addressing, we were trying to discover the needs of different communities. So we would have different communities come in and talk about their needs, and we would figure out how to address those needs. So through my work, I passed a diversity inclusion imperative on the county board. That's the first thing I did.
Okay.
That's the first thing I did, because we want to create more opportunities for people in DuPage. And from that, from the diversity inclusion imperative, there's a lot of things that came out from that. We created MBE programs, programs for MBEs, DBEs, WBEs, right? Your minority business enterprises and all that. So we want to help people, push them up a little bit, elevate them up, and help people that may need that boost, and have them represented. So,
Mark, do you have a question for Sadia?
Yeah. How about give us a little insight to your judicial philosophy, and can you describe that philosophy and how you approach interpreting the law?
Yes. So I believe in fair and compassionate justice as a judge. Now, we have some changes right now in the law with the no cash bail that was passed, and the Safety Act is coming up, right, September 15th. So it's really important to look at the personality of a judge, because with the cash bail system, you're going to have either the judge has discretion, so they're either going to keep you or they're going to let you out, right?
Right.
And that's when you really need to look at a judge's background and see what type of a person they were, what their work was, because people could come in, candidates could, talk a storm about what they'll do and how they feel, but did you back that up with action? What did you do before in action? So I spent most of my career, fighting for women's rights, right, at the United Nations. I was there in 2017. I fought for women's rights. I fought for minority rights. I fought, this is what I've done. So we have less discrimination. I want to get rid of discrimination.
Yep.
And that's what I'm working towards. So the hate crime law goes towards that, those amendments.
Hand in hand with those things. And Sheila, you got a question for Sadia?
Yeah, I just want to know, how do you help with the avoiding the conflicts of interest? Because there's so many people out there with their agenda, and there's a conflict of interest. So how do you avoid, with that situation?
So as an attorney, I have to avoid conflicts of interest at our office every day. So when we get a new client in, I have to avoid conflicts of interest on the county board. So I'm very familiar with this.
Okay.
And you have to follow the rules of judicial ethics and decorum.
That's right. That's good.
Yes.
You did talk a little bit about diversity and inclusion now, right? What steps will you take to promote the diversity and inclusion in our legal system?
Well, I'm already doing it. I'm running. I am a South Asian woman.
That is a very good answer. Okay.
You have to run. I have a 20% Asian district, and there are 0 Asians and 0 South Asians on the judicial bench right now. Whether you're associate or circuit, there are 0 South Asian judges, and we need to be represented too. So there's nobody, and there's nobody running.
Absolutely.
So that's very important. You
Absolutely.
have to first
Mark, you want to go with question number 5 for Sadia?
Okay. Legal precedents. What is your view on the importance of legal precedents, and under what circumstances, if any, do you believe it is appropriate to overturn a precedent?
Well, I think that question is more for the appellate courts, because when you're at the circuit court level, that is your first trial court where you go to. So you're not really dealing with precedent at that level, but when you go up to the next level, appellate or Supreme Court, that's where precedent comes in. So it actually starts at the circuit court level. So do your job right the first time, so you don't have to get appealed, right?
Okay.
That's true.
Sheila, you want to follow up with the next question?
That's
for
very true.
Sadia?
I just wonder about the steps that you take to ensure access to individuals. You mentioned your particular, minority and area. How do you have them have access, or people like those different minorities out there have more access to the judicial system and to be able to participate on an equal playing field financially, as well as just the legal system, because there's so many rules that kind of hold individuals back. We talked about, discrimination and injustices. So what can you do to help individuals have access to justice?
I think at the court level, there's 2 levels to this. First, at the court level as a judge, what you can do, and then the second at a community level, and engaging the community to help in reducing discrimination, I like to say eliminating discrimination, so we're going to go with that.
That's never going to happen.
It starts today.
Right.
It starts today.
So, we have programs at DuPage County right now at the court. We have, we have expungement clinics. We have free legal aid clinics that could help people. We have public defenders where they could provide, access to lawyers, attorneys if, somebody can't afford one. So providing all those services, continuing to provide and making it clear that we have them. Because the issue is that a lot of people don't know, and they'll call our office or they'll call other places like, where do we go for this? So it needs to be people need to be more aware of it. And another idea I was thinking of is technologically having an app, right? Maybe if people had an app, they could look up their court dates, or they could get an alert for their court dates so they don't have to miss any.
Sadia, one of the things that I've noticed in the past with all these government quote unquote organizations, when I was working with Illinois WorkNet, the IDES office, the Department of Employment Security in Arlington Heights, they had so many resources, but they did not know how to market them. So the job seekers or the employers had no idea about the resources that were available, and that was something that I stepped up and helped change in that system over there. So great ideas, but how do you market them?
Right.
That is the question. How do people get to know about these things?
Right. And, as a judge, I wouldn't be responsible for marketing.
I understand that, yeah.
But this is how we put the word out. We have to work with different departments, at DuPage County. We got to work with the county board. We got to work with the clerk's office. We have to work with everybody and have good relationships and, make it work. So. And
you need to come back and talk on the radio about these things so that people who are listening to us get to know what is out there. Mark, you want to go with another question for Sadia, number 7? Let's see what we have to before we wind it up.
Sure, why not? Current legal issues. Now, of course, you've kind of defined yourself pretty much by your background, but could you define some of the current legal issues that you feel are important, and what is your perspective, and how would you approach similar issues if elected?
Okay. Well, I could talk about I'm glad you asked about legal issues and not political issues, right? Because as a judge, it's very important to be very careful not taking a stance. And it's a part of judicial ethics. So, although, I had an opponent who, went and said that I was anti-choice, to people, and that was false, but I'm not allowed to say, you don't take a stance on it, So that was interesting. But in terms of current legal issues, the no cash bail is a big one. And that is my concern because there is judge's discretion involved in that. So when we have drug possession cases, how are they going to be handled? How are defendants going to be handled in domestic violence cases, right? Or rape cases? You have to know whether they're a danger to society or not. And you need to have experience with the people and working with the people on the ground like I have to know the different people that come through the courthouse.
Wonderful. Sadia, thank you so much for coming in. Folks, our guest today on the Lightning Strike is Sadia Covert. She's running for DuPage County Judicial District 18 in the coming up primary. Sadia, what are your thoughts on, virtual Zoom hearings? What are your thoughts on that?
I love virtual Zoom court hearings. I think they're important for status dates. So these quick status dates, I think we should have them for status dates, but for complicated hearings and trials, I think people should come in.
And you don't have to dress up for it, right?
You still have to dress up for decorum.
Okay. On that note, folks,
we have an event coming up too.
We have Sadia Covert in the studio with us. Any final thoughts, Sadia? I know that you have a fundraiser coming up on the 6th. You want to talk a little bit about it before we let you go for the day?
Oh, yes. My host committee is having a campaign kickoff. I am not allowed. I am not asking for money because I am not allowed to ask for any money.
Okay.
So, yes, you are welcome to come, your staff as well. It's on Wednesday, September 6th at 6:30 at White Eagle Clubhouse in Naperville.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And with that, folks, we got Sadia Covert in the studio with us today. You're listening to The Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Mohammed Faheem.
The Devil's Advocate.
Brian from McWanaco. Welcome, Brian. What do you got for us? Hey, Brian.
I got to say the worst way to die is any way to die before seeing Trump behind bars.
Right. Hang on. In my will, I've got do resuscitate until Trump's behind bars order. Please resuscitate. Well done, sir. I like that.
The Devil's Advocates, weeknights at 7 on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey, looking for a winning team on a winning station? You found it right here on WCPT 820 AM. Join the marvelous one, Dan Marver, the palacious one, Paul Shivari, Sports on the Couches, Mike Mercado, and yours truly, Devin Tingle, every Sunday at 9 p.m. for the Sports Cubicle, where the inmates run the asylum. And the boss, well, they yell at us on Monday morning because we're working overtime. Looking for your late night dose of sports talk radio? We're here. Join us on the Sports Cubicle, Sunday nights at 9 p.m.
Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammed Faheem, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammed Faheem.
Good morning, folks, and welcome back to the Lightning Strike on Chicago's Progressive Talk Station, WCPT 820 AM. And we are winding up our first show in the year this time. And what we want to do is always be on the positive on the Lightning Strike. And every week you will see that we will wind off with a person of the week or an organization of the week. And Sheila White is our producer for that segment. And Sheila is an author and a producer, a multimedia specialist, an all-round good person who likes to bring in other good people into the mix over here. Sheila, you're on.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lightning Strike. You know, being an entrepreneur requires a variety of skills and includes creative risk in the face of uncertainty. And finding out what you love and following your heart and intuition can sometimes be scary, but the rewards can lead to a fulfilling dream. I have with us today our guest, Miss Selena Kay, who is affectionately called Queen. She has not only found the keys of entrepreneurship, but she's opened and walked through many doors. Welcome to the Lightning Strike, Selena Kay.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Good morning, Selena. This is Mohammed. Thank you for coming on.
Granddad King, thank you so much for extending this opportunity. Thank
You're welcome. Sheila, go ahead. Take it and run.
Selena, we want to talk a little bit about, you're our person of the week. We want to talk about what it is you do at Rock Truth. Could you tell us a little bit about some of the things you're doing in the community?
Absolutely. First, let me introduce myself. I am Mary Kennedy, or Selena Kay, with Rock Truth Radio. I am born and raised in Gary, Indiana. I am a Kingdom citizen, a joint heir, a daughter of the Most High, a queen, a Kingdom ambassador, a leader, educator, mentor, life coach, Kingdom law professor, help, sister, and at the end of all of that, Queen, I am simply a friend. I am the recreator host of Rock Truth, LLC and its subsidiaries, Rock Truth Radio, Rock Truth Print, where we provide you with branding and marketing needs. We do customized logos, business cards, thank you cards, all of the customized needs that you have or may have in the future. We also have Rock Truth Cafe, Rock Truth Fitness, Rock Truth Comedy, Rock Truth Clothing Line, which is True North. Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Yes, ma'am. Rock Truth Clothing Line, True North, and that is to hold you down so you always know where you are, God, the original True North, the original point of reference. So these are the different things that we are doing in our community and our kingdom, but our primary passion, Queen, primary passion is to be about the lawful management of God's business, his kingdom, colonization, and reformation firm, in efforts to reclaim the nations back to him in accordance to his original mandate and his will.
You know, Selena, you are doing so much to impact the community, to impact the area in which you live. I mean, you're talking about health, you're talking about wealth, you're talking about exercise, you know, fitness, all of these great things. How can our audience be able to get in contact with you to get some more information on some of the different programs you have in your community?
Yes, ma'am. We are on IG. I'm on the Kingdom Customary on IG. We have several different groups and pages on Facebook. One, the Rock Truth page, as well as the different groups that we have: Rock Truth Radio, Rock Truth Comedy, Rock Truth Print. All of those groups are available on Facebook. But then you can also reach me via phone, 219-525-7437.
And you mentioned comedy, Rock Truth Comedy. This is days and times when we need to laugh. We need to laugh out loud, as a matter of fact. Let's talk about Rock Truth Comedy and how you're impacting not only the community, but we know that you have a television series that'll be coming up soon. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, we are very, very excited about the television series. It is called Representing the Priestleys, As for Them in Their House. It is a satire sitcom. It's centered around the prescribed reality of Dr. Jay the comedian, or Dr. James Adams. He is also a comedian as well as a pastor. So it's centered around his home life and his rising career as a Rock Truth comic as he sets the standard of laughter, love, and life.
Awesome. We're looking forward to seeing that. That's going to be in production really soon, we understand. Now, how do you work with the children in the community? Because I know that you do a lot of different programs for the family, but what are some of the things that you're doing with the youth, as an example? Give us some of that information.
Yes, ma'am. So our youth is our target audience between the 12 and the 21-year-olds. And so with A Voice for Lazelle, which is our not-for-profit, A Voice for Lazelle focused primarily on kingdom parenting. You know, and again, even with the sitcom representing the Priestleys, it is us uprooting the issues and causes that occur in our home. That way we avoid the bloodshed that occurs in our streets. And so we're bringing back God's lawful order in his home, with father and family, in efforts to teach people how to be, how the parent should be, how the child should be, and remain in the child's place, to assure that abuse is not occurring in the home. And a lot of people don't know that. When you take a child and you put them in a place of maybe even, babysitting, that takes them out of the role of child, and it's an abnormal usage of them.
Awesome. And Selena, we know that you are a motivator, you're a speaker. There's so many things you're doing.
Definitely.
How do you find time to balance all of this juggling act?
Listen, Queen, it is the law of origin to be. That has been fruitful, and then it multiplies. I'm just being everything God said that I am. That's all. It's natural.
So when do you sleep, Selena?
When my body says so, my king, it is built into my functionality to go to sleep. I rest when it says. I get back up and I do it all over again, fresh and anew.
Wonderful. And thank you very much for joining us, Selena, and appreciate your calling in. And
thank you guys
you
so
are
much.
always welcome to continue God's great work on this earth that we are all put down for, to help our neighbors. And on that note, folks, you are listening in to The Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Mohammed Faheem. Our person of the week has been Selena Kay, who's doing a lot of good work in the community and in the country. And Sheila, thank you so much for bringing Selena in.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much, Selena, for being on The Lightning Strike
Thank you,
today.
guys.
Folks, you're tuned into The Lightning Strike. Do tune in every week, Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock. You can also go to our website, which is TLS for The Lightning Strike, TLSchicago.com. You could also listen to us live on Facebook, which is facebook.com/WCPT820, and on the Heartland Signal website, heartlandsignal.com. And today we have in the studio Mark Ferry, Bill Thoman, Sheila White. Thank you all very much for joining us on this inaugural show today for the Lightning Strike. Also, our guest today was Sadia Covert, who is running for DuPage County Judicial District 18 primary coming up soon. And if you have any questions, comments, please go to our website. If you would like to come on as a guest on the show, you can go again to the website, which is TLSchicago.com, and send in a request through the website for us. If you have any questions, concerns, feel free to call in Sunday mornings. Write this number down, 773-763-9278 or 773-763-WCPT. You're tuned in to The Lightning Strike on Chicago's Progressive Talk Station every Sunday morning, 9 to 10. Mark, any concluding thoughts, remarks?
Well, I'm looking forward to further programs that we do. And I'd like to see a guest that I was going to suggest to you is Pastor Herb Brooks from Joliet.
Wonderful. Let's reach out to him. And Pastor Brooks, if you're listening to us, do reach out through Mark. And if you have any kind of things at all that you want to share, you're more than welcome to call in. Also, Bill, any concluding thoughts in the next 2 minutes that we have?
Exciting topics. We just grazed today. Looking forward to getting deeper into those in future shows.
Wonderful. Sheila, concluding thoughts today.
Yes, I would just like to say if there's anyone out there that would like to be featured as our person of the week or an organization of the week, if you know someone, just give us a call at area code 1-773-763-9278, The Lightning Strike.
Thank you all very much. And on that note, we are going to conclude in a couple of minutes. Again, folks, going forward, our show is going to have a much more rounded structure. In the first segment, we are going to talk about some of the important news of the week as to what is happening in the country around us, in the world around us. And then we'll see if we can talk about some local issues for our cities and our counties. And then we'll go on to our state issues. What is happening at the state level in Springfield? What are these guys doing with our taxpayer money that we have got them coming in as elected representatives? And then we'll finish off with something as to what is happening on the federal level. and then conclude with our Person of the Week. On that note, thank you all very much for tuning in. This is WCPT AM 820, and the lightning strike ends with the show for today. I'm your host, Mohammed Faheem.
The preceding program, The Lightning Strike, was sponsored by Mohammed Faheem and to the extent applicable their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of NewsWeb Radio Company or its management.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe